arrogant male boxer forced young black woman to fight to humiliate her. Then the unthinkable happened. When heavyweight champion Chad Mason mocked a young black woman in front of thousands, the world laughed until she stepped into the ring. He called her weak, untrained, and just a girl playing tough. What he didn't know was that Ava Johnson had been fighting battles long before gloves ever touched her hands. She wasn't there to prove her strength, she was there to prove her worth. The cameras rolled, the crowd booed, and Chad smirked, certain he'd humiliate her in minutes. But as the bell rang, something in Ava's eyes changed. What happened next not only silenced the arena but rewrote the meaning of strength forever. This is not just a fight story, it's a story of dignity, justice, and the unstoppable power of a woman who refused to bow down. Chad Mason was known for his arrogance as much as his boxing skills. A 3-time world champion, he strutted into every ring like a god. He had fans who worshipped him and opponents who feared him. But behind the cameras, he was cruel, especially to those he saw as beneath him. One day, at a charity gym event, Chad was asked to mentor a few young boxers. Among them stood Ava Johnson, 22 years old, quiet, composed, wearing worn-out gloves and faded sneakers. She wasn't there for fame. She came from a rough neighborhood, worked 2 jobs, and trained at night just to keep her late father's dream alive. A man who once taught kids boxing for free, but when Chad saw her, he sneered. "You think you can box? Maybe stick to cardio, sweetheart." The crowd laughed. Ava didn't, she just tightened her gloves. A reporter caught Chad's words and teased, "Why don't you spar her, champ?" The crowd erupted in cheers, some for fun, some for humiliation. Chad grinned, "Sure, I'll show her what real boxing looks like." Ava hesitated, she knew it wasn't fair. But when Chad leaned close and whispered, "You'll last 30 seconds. Something inside her snapped. She nodded. "Let's make it 1 minute." The bell rang. Cameras rolled. And what started as a joke was about to become a lesson the world would never forget. The moment the bell clanged, Chad smirked and danced around Ava, throwing light jabs, mocking her. "Come on, hit me, princess." The audience roared with laughter. But Ava didn't move recklessly. She studied him, his footwork, his rhythm, the way he dropped his left shoulder after every swing. 30 seconds in, she ducked under his jab and landed a clean right hook to his ribs. Chad froze, the sound echoed. The crowd went silent. Then she followed with a jab, quick and sharp, grazing his jaw. Chad's eyes widened, now his ego was wounded. He came at her hard, swinging wild punches. But Ava's training and precision saved her. She dodged, countered, ducked again. The audience began to shift, from mockery to awe. Chad's corner yelled, "Stop. It's enough." But Chad refused. He was too angry to quit. Ava stepped back, breathing steady. "You said 1 minute, she reminded him calmly. 10 seconds left. Chad lunged forward, overconfident, and that's when she delivered a perfect uppercut. The crowd gasped. The champion stumbled, falling to his knees. The bell rang. Silence filled the gym. Chad looked up at her, humiliated, while Ava extended her glove. "Respect isn't given," she said softly. "It's earned." The video went viral overnight. Millions watched the 1-minute fight, not as a knockout story, but as a lesson in humility. Comments flooded the internet. "She didn't fight him. She exposed him." Sponsors pulled back from Chad after his behavior surfaced. Old clips, insults, and arrogance. Meanwhile, Ava was invited to talk shows, boxing interviews, and even offered sponsorships. But she refused to turn it into fame. Instead, she used the attention to open the Johnson Center for Young Women in Sports, named after her late father. Her motto? "Strength is not about muscle, it's about respect." Months later, Chad showed up at her gym. No cameras, no reporters, just him and Ava. He apologized sincerely, asking if she would train him. Ava smiled. "You don't need me to train you, Chad. You just need to listen this time." They shook hands, a gesture that symbolized growth, forgiveness, and change. The fight that began as an act of humiliation became a turning point, not just for Chad, but for every girl who was ever told she couldn't. If this story inspired you, remember, real strength is never about dominance. It's about dignity, discipline, and respect. Subscribe for more powerful real-life stories of courage and transformation. Because kindness, courage, and humility always win in the end.